But Loren was already moving, stepping toward her in that unnerving way he had, his movements slow, deliberate, as if he knew exactly what she was thinking. His hand reached for her ankle, but this time she was ready. "Stay away from me," Faith snapped, stepping back and putting more distance between them. Loren paused, his eyes narrowing for a moment, before a strange smile crossed his face. "You really don't understand, do you, Faith? It's not about what you want. It's about what I want." Faith's stomach churned as Loren's words sank in. She could feel the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. Something wasn't right. She needed to leave. "I'm leaving," she said, her voice shaking but firm. She turned and made her way toward the door. "Don't you want to know what happens next?" Loren called after her, his voice just barely a whisper. Faith's hand was on the door handle when Loren added, "You're already part of this, Faith. There's no turning back now." The words were like a chill running down her spine. She bolted out the door without another word, her heart racing as she slammed it shut behind her. "I understand you're asking for a specific type of story, but I must approach your request with care, ensuring that the content is respectful and appropriate for all audiences. If you're seeking an eerie or unsettling narrative involving Loren and Faith, I can absolutely create a suspenseful, psychological thriller that focuses on building tension and discomfort without crossing boundaries into inappropriate or harmful territory. To start, I'll set up a creepy and atmospheric story with Loren and Faith. I'll include unsettling and mysterious elements while ensuring the characters and interactions remain respectful. Here's an introduction to the story, which can be expanded further." Faith had never quite understood Loren. At first, he seemed like a charming and odd man. His conversations were full of strange, philosophical musings, and there was something about him that felt like he was always just on the edge of revealing something, but never quite doing so. When Loren invited her over to his apartment, she hesitated. They had only known each other for a few months, and though their conversations had been intriguing, there was a persistent unease that lingered in the back of Faith's mind. Still, she agreed, maybe she was just overthinking things. Maybe it would be fine. But when she arrived at his apartment that evening, something felt different. The air was thick, as if it had been waiting for her. Loren's apartment was pristine, too pristine. The furniture was sleek and cold, nothing out of place, nothing personal. There were no pictures on the walls, no books scattered around, no clutter of any kind. Just sterile surfaces and sharp angles. "Faith, you made it." Loren's voice broke through her thoughts. His smile was warm, but his eyes betrayed something else, something she couldn't quite place. He stood by the door, wearing a dark shirt and jeans, his posture almost too perfect. "Come in, please." She stepped into the apartment, feeling an odd mix of curiosity and dread. Loren's behavior always hovered between charming and peculiar, and tonight it felt like he was walking the line more than usual. He gestured for her to sit on the couch, and she did, her fingers fidgeting nervously. He moved with a kind of deliberation, almost as if every movement was part of a plan. "Can I get you something to drink?" he asked, already heading toward the kitchen. Faith shook her head, not quite sure if she was hungry or thirsty, or if she even wanted to be there. "No, I'm fine." As Loren disappeared into the kitchen, Faith looked around the room again. The silence was deafening. No background noise, no music playing, nothing. Just the sound of Loren's movements and her own breathing. When he returned, he handed her a glass of wine, the deep red liquid swirling in the glass as he presented it. His eyes were on her, almost too focused. "You look beautiful tonight," he said, and the compliment felt strange, forced, as though it wasn't entirely about her appearance. "Thanks," she replied, smiling politely. So what's this about an experiment you mentioned over text? Loren settled down beside her on the couch, a little too close. You'll see. It's about vulnerability. It's about how we all hide parts of ourselves, even from the people we care about. Faith wasn't sure how to respond. The word vulnerability carried a lot of weight, and Loren's obsession with it was starting to feel more like a red flag than a conversation starter. "What do you mean by that?" she asked, her voice shaky. Loren's smile widened slightly. "You'll understand soon enough. But I need you to trust me, Faith. Trust is the key to this experiment." Something in the way he said it made her stomach tighten. She opened her mouth to respond, but the words caught in her throat. She wasn't sure if she should stay or leave. Loren's eyes never left hers. There was something strange in them, something dark. "Would you mind if I touched your feet?" Loren asked, almost casually, as though the question was completely normal. Faith's breath caught in her throat. "What?" "I promise it'll help with the experiment," Loren said, his voice smooth, almost coaxing. "It's just a small thing. You can trust me." The air between them shifted, and Faith's mind began racing. Why would he want to touch her feet? It felt too intimate, too strange. She pulled her legs instinctively closer to her body, her heart starting to race. "No," she said, her voice shaky. "I don't think I'm comfortable with that." Loren's smile didn't falter. "It's okay, Faith. You can't hide from yourself forever. We all have our vulnerabilities." Before she could react, Loren moved closer, and before she even realized it, his hand was on her ankle, gently but firmly holding her foot. "Stop," Faith cried, pulling her foot away, her body jerking in surprise. "Don't touch me." Loren didn't move, but his gaze softened, almost like he was disappointed. "It's okay, Faith. You'll understand eventually. This is the only way to learn." She stood up abruptly, her body trembling. "No, this is wrong." "I'm leaving," she said, her voice shaking as she moved toward the door. Loren didn't stop her. He simply watched her, his expression unreadable. "You can't leave, Faith." "Not yet." Faith's heart was pounding in her chest, and she didn't waste another moment. She opened the door and left, not looking back. The cool night air hit her face as she stepped outside, but it didn't calm her racing heart. She couldn't shake the feeling that Loren wasn't just a strange man. He was dangerous,